It is September 22nd, 2022, and my camera is out of focus for some reason. But I wanted to make a quick short video, even though I look like I'm getting old. Like I could almost see the I don't know, my facial structure, like the skin is sinking or some shit. But anyway, I want to make a quick video because I had been kind of committed to keep updating my videos, but I know that no one's gonna watch because I'm getting like a real perspective on like how people use YouTube and even how I myself use it. And it's like, if there's a video of just some guy just talking to a camera, no, thank you. I need like brain dumbing stimulation. Um, anyway, I just want to make a quick video on how to program because I think I had this insight to like, oh, I'm gonna teach other developers like what I know, like all the little nitty gritty details of like learning how to code. And I don't have the time for that. Like I've learned so much that it's just like, and I'm also like working full time, so like for me to make a little some mini courses and like think of like all the things I need to do is like difficult. But what I will do is I'll do a quick like whiteboarding session here in like 2 minutes. So uh, as you can see, my whiteboard. So one thing that I feel like is was the biggest accelerator in me coding is just believing in myself. Like believing that I can do anything as long as I break it up into small chunks. So usually when you start programming, you learn something called like printing hello world console. I don't even know if I spelled that right. It's different when you're like writing it. So hello world. And then if you're using Node, if this is in a file like index.js, literally just this one console.log. I don't know if you can see it. Later in your terminal, you can just write node index.js, right? Obviously, you have to install Node, so that might be tricky for some people, especially getting a terminal running. That's also tricky, but all modern operating systems is pretty straightforward. Um, on Windows, you might have to install Git Bash to really start installing Node terminal things. But anyway, this will just print out hello world. Now, it's kind of like an episode of Naruto. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Naruto, but Naruto just kind of spams Kagubushin no Jutsu for like the whole anime. And it's actually like one of his best, if not the best, jutsu that he knows. So you can kind of think, I think the same way with Hello World. Like I think this is the single best jutsu you could possibly use because it helps you debug your code. And obviously you can use like a debugger and all that stuff, and you can like really dive into variables. But I like the simplicity of console logging things because you can always like look at a piece of code and say, hey, what's going on here? What is in this variable? And then you could even be in a loop and be like, okay, this loop is doing things so many times. What is being stored in this variable? Like, why is it being stored that way? And like the functions aren't too difficult. Like the functions are just like, okay, some kind of function manipulating the data. So you can see the before and after of that piece of data. So you can always just spam this to figure out what's going on. And once you figure out what's going on, then you can reproduce. Even as you're coding, you could be like, oh, I don't know uh, what my function's doing. Uh, like I have a function all of a sudden in this index file and I'm calling it cats. And I'm not sure what it's going to return. Um, maybe it's a string of dog, right? And then you have, instead of doing hello world, we'll also throw in the cat function. So we could say cat. And then we can see like, okay, what is going to get returned here? And it's actually going to return dog. So it's going to return hello world dog. So you can kind of see like, oh, even though there's a cat function, it's returning dog. So the output is hello world dog. And this gives you insight into a lot of different things. Like this is just one example. Then you could do like, oh, something like more complicated, like an async. async function, and instead of like returning instead of figuring out what's inside of the function cat, what if we just return cat? Cat would just be equal to this function. So it'd be returning async function. And then you could see, okay, let's do a try block. And then you can console log what's in the try block. You could console log the await. Usually there's some kind of like const that's equal to an await, and you can say like, hey, this console log is returning a promise, and a promise is an object. And then you can get like more of an understanding for like what the code's actually doing. And then the other big thing I feel like a lot of coders need to understand is it's all just trying to transform your workflow into a video game. Like you see, like video games are usually consisting of like, okay, you have some like problem, you have some level you're trying to beat, right? And then you literally just translate like what you're doing with your day, what you're doing with your code to be like some kind of like level progression system. So you just like you turn like trying to make some kind of function into a video game, and you just start small and you just try to iteratively get closer and closer to like the end of the level, like when you have your expected result, I guess. But it can be very daunting when you're part of a big project and you see like, oh, I need to make this like whole admin application with the drag and drop system and all this like fancy things, and you're just at the start and you get bogged down thinking like, oh, I can't do this. Instead of having that mindset, you just think like, I can do this. I just need to break it up and go small. And with that progression, you actually get things done pretty quickly, and you're able to, in some cases, exceed expectations. And then that gives you some kind of motivation to kind of keep going and keep learning. So anyway, I just want to make that quick video. So this is, I guess, how to program is what I'll call it, or how to be a winner or something like that. I don't know, but it's cool. Go making this. So I'll see you guys later.